Hey, Ecommerce Marketing Podcast listener, are you looking to increase traffic and sales to your website? You can do this by launching your own referral program. Just visit getosi.com and sign up for a free trial today. That's getosi.com. Now get ready to hear from your e-commerce marketing expert of the week as they drill down to give you details on marketing strategies that can help grow your business.
Welcome back to the E-commerce Marketing Podcast, everyone. I am your host, Arlen Robinson, and today we have a very special guest, Brian Ayers, who is a seasoned e-commerce entrepreneur with over 20 years of experience selling online. He is the founder of Ayers Naturals, plant-based medicines that has helped people worldwide maintain good health with his specially formulated plant-based medicines. Welcome to the podcast, Brian.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Yes.
I like that word, seasoned. I'm seasoned.
Yeah. I think you and I both are seasoned. Yeah. We were talking offline. Most of our audience listeners may not know, but me and Brian go way back. Way back. Almost
Incubator.
20. Yeah.
Incubator level.
Incubator level. Yes. Our parent company, OmniStar Interactive, which is our main company that provides OSI affiliate software. We moved into an incubator in Hyattsville, Maryland, about 2 to 3 years after we launched things. This was probably in about 2000 and actually about 2001 or so when we moved in there. And Brian, I think you guys came shortly after us, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. It was good times. Learning curve, a huge learning curve.
Yeah, definitely was. Yeah, a lot of lessons learned there, and great time. So yeah, we met a lot of other kind of young, budding startups, tech startups. We were just talking about some that have kind of come and gone, people that have gone on to do other ventures, and it was quite an experience. But those I guess you can say were the good old days, as they always say.
Exactly.
Well, it's definitely been awesome, reconnecting with you, Brian. Today, our topic for the day that I am super excited to dig deep into is going to be YouTube influencer marketing. And, as we were mentioning before the recording here, have really carved a pretty solid niche in that kind of arena. And I know you can bring a lot to the table, especially with the amount of experience that you had running your business. So I'm super excited to dig deep into that. But before we do all of that and dig deep into that, why don't you tell us a little bit more about your background and, specifically how you got into what you're doing today?
Okay. Well, we have 2 different levels to this. So the regular business, Ayers Naturals, actually started that after experiencing my grandmother. She did a slip and fall. Did the grandmother thing, went down a step, she broke her hip. So she went into the hospital on 2 drugs, came out on 22 drugs. Wow. And my partner at the time, you may remember Ruth, she went through and looked at all the different medicines that she was taking and realized they were doubling up on the medicines. And so it was like, oh, this is obviously not a good thing. So, it just sort of got my mind in that track of looking for a better solution, looking for more natural solutions. And that's how we discovered tinctures, which are basically liquid formulas instead of pill form. So, you strain herbs in alcohol to get the essence of the herbs out. And it's really good medicine, powerful medicine. And, our clients like it. And also the thing we realized is that you need to give a lot of information, because we've come up with this mindset that all you need to do is just take a pill. Just give me a pill and, that's it. And it's like, well, no, you have a pattern of things that you were doing that led up to the point where you are right now. So if you keep doing that same pattern and I just give you a pill, well, it's just a patch. And so you're going to have to keep coming back. So instead of the doctors telling my grandmother, hey, you really need to stop eating that, you need to move more often, you need to get better sleep, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Here's a pill. Well, here's another pill. That pill, and here's another pill. It just goes on and on and on. So that's how we got started on that side. But as far as the coaching side, as far as getting into YouTube, that's when, for a long time I was using blogs just to, research information, and I give the people the information. So it's like, well, if you're taking this product, it's a supplement. It's meant to supplement the other things you're doing. If you're not doing the other things, then you're going to run into problems. And so just doing the blogs and everything like that, it was great, doing okay. The SEO was working out well. And then I got the Google slap. So lost like 80% of traffic in one day.
Wow.
Yeah, and it didn't come back. So it was interesting because during that time I had also just did a webinar. I had done a couple of videos, put them up on YouTube. Nothing really popped off, so I wasn't paying attention. Did the webinar, which was much longer, put that on YouTube, and the algorithm kicked in for YouTube. So it was saying, hey, people are watching this long video. So what other videos do you have? And let's push those videos too. And so that's, one day I'm just like, where did all these sales come from? What's going on? And just realizing that it was YouTube bringing in all this traffic. And what was also very compelling about this was the conversion rate just shot up.
Wow.
So it was much easier to make sales when you're talking to people, obviously, for a good number of reasons. So with that, just dove in and started looking at other ways to use YouTube in terms of, putting out content. What's the best ways? What's the best format? Really researching it and looking at what you can do to make the channel better. Of course, you have to have great content, but there's also the technical SEO type of side of things that you need to do. So just kept building, kept putting out content every week. And subscribers started coming in like crazy. We're now over 150,000 subscribers. And at that point, we were getting like 500 subscribers a day. It was insane. It was insane. So just kept going with that and started building the company a little bit more around the coaching side and giving out that information. And so that's how, really getting into YouTube, and then realizing that I was an influencer. So, this is nice. And, and that's the thing about YouTube, is that people get to know, like, and trust you. And that last piece, that trust, that's where you get the sales made, because not only would, recommend products like our lead product is an aphrodisiac called African Fly, or, tell guys about their health and, the sexual health and things like that. And so they would keep on asking, well, do you have anything for this? Do you have any other products? Do you have any other products? It was like, oh, you mean I can sell other products too?
Right.
So, and so people started reaching out to me, not only to actually buy the channel, which I thought was interesting, but also to move their products. So, dealing with men, dealing with health issues, letsgetchecked.com was the first company that I worked with. They do a home testosterone kit company. And so, they'll send the test to you, blah, blah, blah. So I actually did a video where I was giving information about testosterone and just went into like, okay, if you need to get your testosterone checked, instead of needing to run to the doctors and things like that, they'll just mail it to you, prick your finger, send the blood back in. They, they help you out. So it was a perfect fit. And so that led me to like, okay, what else can we do? And, other products, actually just started working with a company that sells CMOS, which is great. So there's so many different products and, services that are out there that, that approached me. And then I started looking at like, well, how can we do this with other people, putting our products in front of other channels. And so, they got the well-rounded version of YouTube marketing influencers. Yeah.
Gotcha. That's some good stuff. And it's interesting because it seems like with you kind of took a different approach to it. I know a lot of the listeners that are tuning into this are probably e-commerce business owners or e-commerce marketers. And, everybody's heard about influencers. Everybody's heard about, that aspect of getting these personalities or people that have a sizable following to pretty much promote their products, in exchange for some type of revenue, commission, split, whatever it is. People are familiar with that. One of the unique things that you did, though, is you, rather than kind of going out there approaching other people, which I know, of course, you eventually have made partnerships, but you have become the influencer, which is very unique. I know a lot of times people are thinking that, okay, I got to go out there. I got to try to find, the biggest celebrities in my niche. I got to try to find the Kim Kardashians of the world. I got to try to find the Kylie Jenners of the world, all that. They have all these aspirations of tapping these people, which are just like not attainable. But, just by doing, it's kind of your own work and research, you really became that influencer. And so I guess what I want to start off is for people that may be kind of a little bit leery as to, you know, how would I become an influencer? You know, I'm not really a personality. You know, I have an okay following. I have my customer base. I have my social networks. How do you get to the level where you're at, where you got 150,000 subscribers, that's steadily growing, and you really just kind of seems like you slid into it? Was there a particular path that you followed to really get there and to grow that?
Yeah, I mean, it's really a couple of things. The first thing is really just the content, and for a lot of people, they think that I'm like you said, I'm not a personality. It's like, no, you're a human, you're a person. So there's an ality with that. So just go ahead and use it. You just being an individual, you have value to somebody, and especially if you're good with your content. And really, it's all about authenticity. Some people will get on YouTube and try to be like someone else, and people can see right through that. But if you have a passion for something, and hopefully you're in business and you have that passion for your product, you can really speak to it well, how it'll work with people, et cetera, et cetera. So, and also you want to flesh out your content. So with my channel starting out with sexual health, it's like, okay, now we do videos all the way to zinc, and just, not just on the product. You really don't, for the way that I approached it, it was all about giving the information and not the selling. So I would literally get on there, talk about it, and I would just say I'm the men's performance coach with African Fly, and just keep going and just talking about that. And then people just kept going into the comment sections. What is African Fly? Where can I get it? It was, and it was like, okay. Then we had to actually put the www.africanfly.com. Go ahead and visit in there, and and still at the same time not go into it with like, I'm pushing this on people, because people can see that sales job. They really want to get the information, and it's reciprocal. Yeah. People just, it's like, you give me information, I feel I owe you something. And so they'll just, like I said, they trust you at that point. So not only do they want to purchase your product. I mean, I've had people literally tell me, well, I don't really need your product, but I'll go ahead and get it anyway, just because I like you. And the level of appreciation from people can be very high. Constantly get guys, you're really doing God's work. I was like, whoa, that's deep.
Wow.
But if it touches people, especially when you're talking about their health, if it touches people and they really need or like your product and the things that you're saying, then they're really down with you. So there's the personality and the content side, but there's also the technical side, how you present. And that changes. And the thing to remember about YouTube or any platform is that it's all about the platform. So for YouTube, they want to keep people on YouTube. So if you're their two main things are, it's not even subscribers anymore. They're, that's a vanity number for us YouTubers. But in terms of what YouTube is looking for, they're looking for average view duration. So how long someone is staying on, watching your videos, and click-through rate. So like, if people you have some content that's interesting, your thumbnail is interesting, they click on it, then they sit there and they look at your video. And some of the other metrics they have is if they click on another video that you have, and another video that you have, it's like, okay, you have some content that they're really paying attention to. And what YouTube will do is actually push that content. So basically what I'm creating are 10-minute long infomercials. Not about my product, but about the issue that the person has. And so with that, YouTube is like, oh, okay, well, we're just going to keep pushing it. And of course, the great thing about YouTube compared to other platforms is that your product, your video is evergreen. So have a video that I did, the biggest video is like, almost 2 years old now, has like over 1 million views. And so I couldn't possibly pay for that level of engagement and things like that. You could pay for it. You're going to end up paying a lot of money.
Definitely.
So, it's definitely worth it. And so, the technical side, there are, different pieces of software. We mentioned one to you earlier. There's vidIQ, there's TubeBuddy. With those pieces of software, you can not only see how you're doing, They'll guide you through your tags, what type of tags you should be using. They'll give you suggestions. They'll, help you with the thumbnail. The tool is, they're very powerful. And one of the things you can do, you can see what your competition is doing.
Okay.
And really, when it comes to YouTube, if you're doing it correctly, you don't have competition. You just have people who are also on there, and you can partner with other people and on the platform. And, because, there are people who have more views than regular TV personalities on a regular basis. So you're talking about, there are many Oprahs out there, many, many Ellens and, different shows like that. So, but, really it is work. It is, you have to go through, you have to be consistent with putting your videos up. You need to reply to people. It's about making that connection. So people notice if you're not in the comment section, replying to questions. And it's like, they'll notice that, you didn't show up last week or the week before that or something like that. So your consistency matters. Your engagement matters, responding back to people. And especially if you have a product, because people will go, they'll purchase instead of emailing, our support team. They'll just go back onto YouTube and say, hey, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, you want to be, mindful of your business, but also mindful of like what ends up showing up in the comment section, because people do see that. And it's also, you have trolls in the comment section. And I don't mean like you have some. With the topic that I talk about, you would think there'd be a lot of people just saying a lot of crazy stuff, but actually it's very respectful. We have a very vibrant community, but you do have bots that'll go in and stick in like, go to this site and blah, 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 things like that. So you have to clear that stuff out. And once again, people can tell if you're not doing the things that you're supposed to do.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's great stuff. It really does sound like the core of it is really that content, and making sure that whatever it is that you're putting out there is, well thought out, well researched, and, from a point of view where you're truly just trying to inform people. I think a lot of times brands and other businesses, the focus is really just to get on there, try to get as many viewers, as many subscribers, drive as many sales as possible, which, is good. Everybody wants that. But if you're in such a hurry to do that, like you said, people will see through that. They'll see through that, you're really not truly passionate about what it is that you're putting out there. And it sounds like you started from a true place where, you really just wanted to educate people, came from an experience that your grandmother had at the hospital where you learned about the pharmaceutical and found out there was other options, and you researched that and then wanted to kind of impart that knowledge. And then that's when the sales started to come through. People respected you, like you said. They knew, they started to know you, they liked you, they trusted you. And then that's when the reciprocity kind of kicked in there, where they felt like, man, I'm getting a lot from Brian on a consistent basis. Well, I got to support him. I want to see what he has. And, that's when the sales kick in. So that's good stuff. I think that's really the key takeaway to where you begin with this. Now, one of the things that I alluded at prior is that, of course, you could go the route you took, where you researched the information, started your channel, and just kind of grew the base organically. And just over time, it just grew and grew and grew. But there's, of course, other ways that you can go about doing it. The other way is, of course, finding influencers that already have an established following in a particular niche or particular industry. For those people that really are more comfortable going that route, or want to do that, in conjunction with them becoming a personality, what are some suggestions that you have as far as, finding those right influencers for their business?
Really, it just comes down to, obviously, what your product and it is and everything. So just do a real quick search. You can do a keyword search, like, say, for instance, you have a car wax company, you want to sell your car wax. And so, just more than likely there's if you put in car wax, you're probably not going to get a bunch of people watching car wax things, but there's obviously a huge car enthusiast out there. So, you would go through and start looking for the car enthusiasts, and you want to do your research. I'll actually mention a couple of companies that can help you with this process. But
Mhm.
in terms of looking at someone, and you have to pay attention to them. Sometimes people want to shortcut it, because I've had people
Right.
offer me things
Okay.
that don't fit. So, I talk about being natural and, not needing to get stuck on using devices or, pills and things like that. But I've had
Mhm.
device companies and pill companies come along and say, hey, why don't you talk about this? It's like, that doesn't fit at all. And so
Mhm.
you don't want to really waste your time. So you want to be, you have to do your research and looking at it. So you do the keyword search. You can also, there's a pre-fill um, piece to search engines for YouTube search. So if you
Mhm.
put in car wax, it'd be car wax for hot cars or car wax for, certain colors or something like that.
Mhm.
And so you can go
Mhm.
down the rabbit hole in terms of like looking at what is a good fit for you.
Yeah.
And some of the things you can also do is see if they're already doing product reviews.
Okay.
And you do need to be careful. And like I said, I'll mention a couple of companies that you can work with, but you have people who will they're in there for the sponsorship game, and so they
Yeah.
will buy followers type of thing.
Mhm.
They'll do some deceptive practices, and so you need to be able to tell what's going on with that. But you're looking for someone who's going to help you out with, it's like if you do the research, you find the person, their message fits, everything fits. Then you have to go through and say, hey, this is what we'd like to do. Can you
Mhm.
do a review video or most recommended how-to
Yeah.
video or tutorial videos? Then
Right.
you want to sort of strategize in terms of, do you want to do some joint giveaways? So I'm giving
Mhm.
away some car wax, that type of thing, or
Mhm.
unboxing video, if you've ever seen
Yeah.
those.
Mhm.
Those are pretty powerful. We had a person do an unboxing video that we didn't ask him to do it, but he just did it. And it was like,
Okay.
oh, that's nice. Um,
Okay.
and you want to see what things out there are trending.
Mhm.
So, and basically all you're going to do is, if you're doing it yourself, reach out to them and say, hey, love your channel, love what you're doing. We have this product that does this. We really think your audience will get a benefit out of it. Why don't we discuss a collaboration? It's really that
Mhm.
simple.
Okay.
Um, and the thing to remember though is that, and me being a YouTuber,
Mhm.
we're busy. So
Yeah.
you do want to, you don't just, it's sort of like, and this from the affiliate game, you have
Mhm.
to, when you're reaching out, especially to bigger affiliates and, people who can really move your product, sometimes you have to reach out to them several times before you get their
Exactly.
attention.
That's
Um,
true.
and once you get them, you get the agreement going, everything seems like it's working. When I say the agreement going, in terms of, if you have an affiliate link, whether you're trying to pay them up front, maybe everybody wants to get paid up front.
Mhm.
Some people, but you really want to go with the affiliate side of things just to make it easier.
Right.
Um, and, give them some talking points. Say, especially if you've been doing it. So what I would recommend is that you start with a smaller channel,
Mhm.
so you get your feet wet. So, and it's probably easier to reach the person and say, hey, you have 80,000 subscribers, whatever.
Mhm.
So here, here's what we offer. And, from there, you want to give them some talking points so they know exactly, they don't know your product.
Yeah.
So, and so give them some talking points and, and offer them, have them offer the audience some discounts, some buy one, get one free,
Mhm.
discounts, bundles, things like that.
Yeah.
And once you have all that stuff in place, then you're off and running.
Mhm.
And, you're really just looking at the tracking URL. That's the best way to, that's the reason why you want to do the affiliate, so you can
Yeah.
tell whether or not people are going through, and it's less of a risk to you.
Yeah. Very, very true. I'm glad you mentioned that as well, because the tracking piece is really important, because a lot of times I've seen agreements, especially with some of the larger influencers, the influencers that are talking, that are have, millions and millions of
Hmm.
followers. They're in a different category. And I think with what they can do, they're able to command fees per, let's say, post. And that's kind of, let's say, per Instagram post, they'll
Hmm.
charge, tens of thousands of dollars, $100,000s. But that's because it's almost kind of a guarantee that, whatever it is that they're posting is going to get a certain amount of views, likes, all of that stuff. But when you're dealing with people in kind of the smaller scale, you got to have some tracking in there in place to be able to, find out where people are coming from, is what they're doing successful, and just to make sure you're not getting burned there. That's really the bottom line.
That's really true. Yeah.
Definitely. Now, earlier you kind of mentioned a few key things that you guys use, or that YouTube is looking at to kind of, I guess you could say, kind of rank videos. But when it comes to, just this whole YouTube influencer marketing in general, what are some specific metrics that you use, or in general, that a brand could use to just, measure success of their campaign?
Well, really, it's a couple of things you have to just keep in mind before you get started. And when we're talking about true success, one is that it's going to take time, because we're talking about not only the research to find the person, then, once again, they may be busy. It may take like 2 or 3 weeks before they respond. And then you have to get things set up, different. And that's the reason why I recommend working with different companies. And one is InfluenceLogic.com. Influence Logic.
Okay.
That's the company that got me connected with Let's Get Checked, the testosterone testing company. But there's other companies that one is Obviously, and it's obvious.ly. And those are the type of companies that will help you in terms of like, we'll find the people, or we already have people on our platform. So now let's go ahead and get you guys matched up. I mean, obviously there's cost involved with that, but you're going to end up saving a great deal of time. And also you're less likely to get scammed, because these people need to be on the up and up to get onto those platforms. So, but definitely everything just comes down to that tracking. So, with that tracking, you're able to just see if it's working. The things you want to look at, a lot of times people just look at subscribers, and that can be also a false negative. So that's a false positive. That's even YouTube is sort of changing up the algorithm. So, it's not just a question of like, you have 100,000 followers or whatever. It's like, how active are these followers? So some people will subscribe one time and never come back to the channel again. And so, if you watch YouTube enough, you'll see people saying, "Oh, subscribe to my channel, subscribe to my channel, subscribe." And people will just go ahead and hit the button because whatever reason, but they're not active on it. And so what you want to look at, what I suggest doing is going ahead and investing in a product like a Tube Buddy or a vidIQ. And the reason for that is once you have it installed onto your browser, what it would do inside of YouTube, every time you check out a YouTube video, you can see to the right just what's going on with that channel. You can see the number of videos that the person has put out. You can see, the keywords that they're using. So you can sort of see if like, okay, are they actually professional with this? You can see their SEO score. So with this amount of information, you're now seeing whether or not this channel is real. And also you can actually look at the video that they sponsored and see how that video is doing. So, it's two pieces to this, because sometimes, with, like I said, YouTube is evergreen. So you can have people, I can see the metrics. We, can normally average like 300, 400 views an hour. So on videos that are just sitting there from years ago. And so, that can happen with your affiliate link. It may go out, it doesn't seem like it's doing well. And then, it just over a period of time, it's just growing and getting more traction. So, there's a level of, like I said, that level of patience with it. But, it really comes down to that sale at the end of the day.
Exactly. That's the one metric that really that everybody's looking for is this really cost effective? Am I is the time spent doing this, is it going to pay for itself? And then some,
Exactly.
is there a good ROI on that? So is ultimately what it does come down to. And as we get ready to wrap things up, I wanted to kind of pick your brain, since you've been at it for quite a while in the whole YouTube space. You've created a great channel. With everything that you've done, what would you say is the number one do with regards to YouTube influencer marketing, whether it's any aspect of what you've done with YouTube? The number one do, and then the number one don't, something that you should definitely not do based on some experience or a lesson that you guys learned.
I would say the number one do is to work with another company that's already doing this, because it's a complicated and constantly moving space. So you have people who are hot and then not, and you don't know which side you're on. And when I say hotter than not, is there's some videos that go like hyper viral, and that could be like 1 month, and then nothing else happens ever again with that channel. And so if you don't know that, then you could be on the tail end. So you're like, okay, this person is hot, I'm paying them this much money, we're expecting to get, and you don't get it because it's trailing off. And that's the reason why I said use like a tube buddy, so you can sort of gauge just looking at the different videos what's going on.
Gotcha.
And so that's I would say the number one do. And I'll say the number one don't is not use those companies. And because unless you're diving deep, if you already have your business, because it was already, coaching was already a part of what I was doing, giving out. So it was already baked into what we were doing. For a lot of people, it's like, okay, I'm already doing this, I just want to use this as a marketing platform to move more product. I would say also, along with getting, if you want to dive deeper, if you have the time to dive deeper, there are plenty of people who have courses. One of the folks I follow is Think Media. You can check them out on YouTube, and they not only there for people who are like myself in terms of content creators, but they also talk about also the influencer space. And there's other different, just go on YouTube and people have different courses and stuff. You may have to take a weekend, dive in, go through their course and everything like that to have a fuller understanding, depending on how deep you want to get. But you don't want to go into this thinking like it's not like other media, because you're not talking about, in some cases you have established professionals, people have, the larger folks, they have agents. And so you call them, they're going to get back in contact with you because they want that money. And so they're going to charge you that. And if you're dealing with smaller people, it's going to take a little bit longer. So you don't want to be in a situation where you're thinking that, okay, what I can do is just hop in here and grab this person, and we're going to see results within the first 2 or 3 weeks. That's a TV ad. With this, it could be a month, 2 months, or 3 months. But once again, once your video is on there, unless the creator actually takes it off, it's going to be on there for a very long time. And, it's like other things. You set up your marketing campaign. This is one of the few marketing campaigns, especially on the internet, that you can do that can last for a long time.
Yeah. It truly is evergreen. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because not only will it live forever on YouTube, but you can repurpose that content in that video a number of different ways. I mean, if let's say you've created a 30-minute informational video, let's say something that you did with your particular channel, I'm sure there's ways you can cut that up, put clips of it on social media that are relevant to a specific topic. You can put clips of it on a blog post, you can summarize it. I mean, you name it. There's the list goes on how you can just it doesn't even have to be a 30-minute. I mean, even a 10-minute video, you can cut it up and repurpose that a number of different ways. And so it really truly is, even if you're not getting any direct sales from that actual video that's out there being viewed, you can then take it and use it other places to see if you can get a better return on some other platforms. So,
and also the conversion rate is, once again, just got to mention it's very much worth paying attention to, because going from blogs to video, we're talking about double-digit conversion rates, which, the average internet site is like 2%. We were running around with 11% to 16%. So, and you can't pay for that in terms of you can get some people to go to the site. Yeah, you can get people to go to the site, but are they? People are pre-sold. That's one of the main things that we got out of it. So it's like, okay, going to other platforms or doing it other ways. It's like, yeah, you can see how you're spending the money, but it's not coming back the way you'd like to.
Yeah, definitely. You're so right about that, about people being pre-sold. That's usually the way it is, for sure. Well, Brian, it has been awesome having you on today. I have definitely learned a lot. And as I mentioned earlier, this is definitely a very timely topic because YouTube is just getting bigger and bigger as we speak, and it's something that I think really any e-commerce brand can take advantage of YouTube influencer marketing. There's a number of ways, as we mentioned, that you can get into it, whether you're going to produce your own content or whether you tap outside affiliate that has their own audience to create like a review video, unboxing video, you name it. There's a number of ways you can come into it. So that's been awesome. And hopefully our audience, our listeners have learned a lot. But what I always like to do is just switch things up at my final closing question, just so our audience can get to know you just a little bit better. If you don't mind sharing one closing fun fact with us that you think our audience would be interested to know about yourself.
I'm a former rapper.
Okay. Actually, I don't think I knew that.
Not many people know. Not many people suspect at all. Whenever I say that, I've had people just run down the hallway, like, especially after the videos on YouTube, of course. So, for those people who want to check it out, it's NDG, no description given, game in the player. Yeah, I'm player. Yeah.
Okay.
That was way back. Way back.
Wow. NDG on YouTube. Okay. I'm going to have to check you out. I did not know that. We go way back, but that's one thing I didn't know. Okay. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Yeah. You're kind of coming up there in the top list of my fun fact questions. I've had quite a few interesting responses, but that's coming up as close to the top there. A former rapper. All right, good stuff, man. Well, it's been a pleasure having you, Brian. Well, lastly, before we let you go, if any of our listeners want to get a hold of you, check out some of your products, find out anything about what you're doing on your end, what is the best way for them to reach you?
You can reach me at Bayers, that's BAYERS, at ayersnaturals.com, AYERS naturals, plural.com. And also, if you want to check out the product African Fly, you can go to africanfly.com. So that's Bayers, BAYERS, at Ayers Naturals, AYERS naturals.com, or africanfly.com.
All right, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Definitely encourage all of our listeners to check you out and see how your products can be a benefit to them. Yes, and thank you again, Brian, for joining us today on the E-Commerce Marketing Podcast.
Hey, appreciate it, Arlen. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you for listening to the E-Commerce Marketing Podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode of the E-Commerce Marketing Podcast, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and share it with everyone you know.